Welcome to this session, and in this session we'll be talking about the final 15 questions for the UGC June 2014 examination for Geography paper 3. So we'll start discussing the last set of questions. So the next question here was, we have to match list 1 with list 2 and we have to see which of the following is the correct match. So as we all know, nearest neighbor analysis is a technique that is used in the studies of settlement. So it talks about settlement patterns. So you have nearest neighbor analysis with settlement pattern. Then you have eigenvalues. Eigenvalues are used to find out principal component analysis. So we use eigenvalues with principal component analysis. The next is correlation. We can show correlation by means of scatter diagram. So you have a scatter diagram with correlation. Okay. The next and final is the standard distance, and that is a measure of centrographic. That's a centrographic measure, means of centrographic measure. Now the next question here is, we'll just move on to our app. So we'll move on to the next question. The next question talks about which of the following is a GIS operation. Now you have a list of few things and you have to find out which of the following is exactly working as a GIS operation. Now among these four, contrast stretching is a technique that is used for GIS. So when we talk about GIS, in contrast stretching, what we do is we increase the contrast of the image. So we can change the image from grayscale and we can increase the contrast of the image. So it helps to make the features much more specific and detectable. So these include the other techniques besides contrast stretching that is done in GIS includes edge enhancement. So you have edge enhancement. Then the next technique we talk about is filtering. Then you have smoothing. So these are some of the methods, and sharpening. These are some of the methods that we use for GIS operations. The next question is, if we want to find out the land use, and that too proportionally, which of the following is correct? So in that case, we can say the correct answer here is a pie diagram. So by means of pie diagram, we can show different land uses in an area. The next is again a question on the statistics. The point where mean and median coincide is the normal distribution curve. So the answer here is normal distribution curve. The answer here is normal distribution curve. The next is contour interval in a topo sheet given by Survey of India. So a topo sheet given by Survey of India with a scale of 1:150 K or 150,000. The correct distance in the meters would be 100 meters. So if the topo sheet has this scale, the contour interval would be 100 meters. Now next question, we talk about matching. Match the following again. So you have two lists, list 1 and list 2. You have to match the instruments with the various lists. So let's see. First is GPS base. So GPS base helps to provide the global location. So you have GPS base that helps to provide the global location. Then you have planimeter. Planimeter is an instrument that measures distance and area. So you have planimeter goes with distance and area. Planimeter that goes with distance and area. Then you have plantometer. What is plantometer? Plantometer is an instrument that is used for reduction and enlargement of maps. So here just to note, in this question the spelling given is incorrect. It's not plantometer, it's pentometer. Pantograph, sorry. And finally you have a stereoscope which provides a three-dimensional vision. The next question here is, the most appropriate sampling technique used for heterogeneous group. Now you have various kinds of heterogeneous region is a region which has different type of population. So when you have different type of population, the best method to select is doing a random population, selecting the population randomly and then stratifying the population. So random stratification is the best technique for a heterogeneous group of population in a given region. Our next question is, which of the following is a character of Indian federalism? Now when we talk about Indian federalism from a perspective of geographical basis, which of the following is a characteristics of geographical base? Now when we talk about area, physical and cultural diversities, regional differences, we are all talking about in terms of geography. But when we talk about division of powers and functions between union and state territories, it's not a geographical function. This is a function of politics or political science. Okay. So the next question here is, which of the following country is known for unique assemblage of human races in the world? So you have a lot of human races across the world, and which country among the following has a assemblage of various races? So the correct answer here is India. So India, according to various scholars, has a unique assemblage of races. Haddon gave that the Dravidians were the first to occupy India. Then Mitra in his classification talked about Proto-Negroids as the first settlers. Then you have Majumdar, who gave credit to Proto-Australians. Then Guha, who gave credit to Proto-Australians and Dravidians and Negroids. Then the next question is about the political geography. In this, who gave the concept of geostatic model? Now, geostatic model, where the world was divided into 10 regions, was given by Saul Cohen. And Saul Cohen, in his division, what he did was, he wrote a book known as Geography and Politics in a World Divided. So the title of book was Geography and Politics in a World Divided. And in this book, what he tried to do was, he tried to explain the various characteristics, and he divided the world into 10 geopolitical regions. So he had the first order states, which were mainly the Japan, US and European nations, which were known for their maritime realm, and then the continental realm, which were continental countries like China and Soviet Union. Then he also explained there were some independent states like Pakistan, India, Thailand and Vietnam. So this was the next question. The next question is an interesting question where you have to match the administrative unit with the country. So you have a list of administrative units and the country. So district is a term that is used in India. Then you have county as a term which is used in Britain. So you have county in Britain. So you have Britain, that is county. District in India. Then you have department is used in France. And finally crazy is used in Germany. So these are the administrative units that are named in various countries. The next important question is again on political geography. This is a bit conceptual and tricky question. For measuring the success of changes in electoral boundary, we use the concept of, the correct answer here is representation. So representation means electoral boundaries. The representation is done based on one representative per some number of people. So you have, let's say, one person who is fighting from your constituency and he is representing a fixed number of people. So that is what is meant by representation, and in electoral boundaries we use the concept of representation. The next question is welfare approach talks about. So welfare approach in general talks about or emphasizes the quality of life. So you have better quality of life as per the welfare approach. This question is an interesting question and a question that is usually asked in terms of geography. So you must be aware of this concept. What is cultural turn in geography? So cultural turn is the mark of basically, here if you directly want to see the answer, it's bringing social and cultural geography together. But basically what is cultural turn? So cultural turn is a reorientation of human geography's interdisciplinary functions from the various cultural fields. So let's say culture is in the context of social process, then culture is in the context of the beliefs, the values, the functions of a group. So it's basically an interdisciplinary concern from the various aspects. That is what we call as the concept of cultural term. Now the next question and the final question for UGC is, here is the list of industries and you have to match. So as we all know, Renukut is known for aluminium industry. Then you have Khetri, known for copper smelting in Rajasthan. So you have Khetri for copper smelting. Then you have zinc smelting in Vishakhapatnam. Vishakhapatnam is known for zinc. And finally, Mysore is well known for silk and silk products. So these were the final set of questions for UGC paper 3 for June 2014 examination. With this, we finished the complete paper on geography. This time the paper on geography was a lot conceptual, with most of the questions which were based on the conceptual aspect were either from regional and political geography or from geomorphology, while the remaining all set of questions were direct based on rote memory. Some of the rote memory questions were easy, but some of them were difficult. For example, in history of geographical thought, most of the questions were direct and simple, but some of the questions which were not direct were a bit complicated. So you need to have in-depth study for the topics on history of geographical thought, and you need to have a conceptual understanding in regional development, political geography, and geomorphology and climatology as per the paper analysis for geography examination for June 2014. So stay tuned for further lectures in geography. Have a good day ahead.